All right. Welcome to the Speak Your Truth podcast. We are SYT Speak Your Truth. This is a podcast where we interview business leaders, nonprofit leaders to discuss their big ideas. I'm very excited to do our first episode today with a friend of mine from high school, Mr. Verrone Sims of A Brown Hue. I'm not going to go into all of his details. I just want to say that since I've known Verrone, he's always been an artist. And his big idea combines both his passion for art and design with manufacturing and interior design. So with that said, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Verrone Sims. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Slick? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited. This is our first time doing this, so I'm very happy to be here.
Same. I'm excited. Glad to be here.
So you know the first question, and we'll delve deeper into it, but what's your big idea? And a big idea is something, your unique perspective on the world.
Mm-hmm.
It has to have some stakes to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be one sentence. And then, we got an hour to break it down, but can you try to give it to us in one sentence, your big idea?
The largest minority-owned urban lumber yard in the Midwest.
That's a big idea.
Huge.
That's what you want to do?
Huge, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to source, mill, dry. You can purchase from me. You can get custom furniture from us. You can get custom cabinets from us. I want to do it under one umbrella. I think what happens in the craft world or the maker world or the woodworking world and carpentry world, a lot of guys don't own the raw materials. They can't. Sourcing is always an issue. We saw that during the pandemic, right? Where all of a sudden, call times were 6, 12, 18 weeks for large scale manufacturers. Well, then the small guys came in like me, right? We were saying, well, 4, 6 weeks, we can get it to you. We were out the door. You had small guys who had, small farms who had their own like wood misers who were, now they're cutting 2x4s because Home Depot doesn't have enough 2x4s. You saw this. So I saw this thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, this should be a permanent thing. This shouldn't be because we have supply chain issues. This should be something that's accessible. And when I first started creating furniture, sourcing material was extremely hard. I live on the South Side.
Yeah.
I'm in Chatham, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You're local.
So, right. I'm very local, right? I'm 6 blocks away from the Red Line, right?
Right.
So there's no like carpentry, woodcraft, anything within 10 to 12 miles of me. I mean, the closest thing I had was a Rockler woodworking source in Orland Park, right? Or a Woodcraft that was 18 miles away. Or I was driving to Schaumburg or Naperville. The closest lumber yard to me at the time was Great Lakes Lumber Yard.
Okay.
Lady named Megan. She was amazing, man. She had this like reclaimed lumber yard where she was salvaging reclaimed boards out of buildings and she was denailing, and she had like these huge 2x12s by 18 feet, and it just smelled like this salvage. You know what I mean? It just had that whatever, that patina to it. And that was exciting, man. And that felt like, okay, there's something going on, and this should be a permanent staple. But when I spoke about it in my little circles, or when I went back to my neighborhood, when I talked to my homies, they were just like, "Yo, where you getting this material from?" Like, and there was no place to go.
Yeah,
I couldn't explain it neither. Really, it was trying to say that I want to control the business from top to bottom.
So this is a new big idea.
This is it. This is the original big idea.
Okay.
The original big idea. I think in the beginning I was very afraid to actually do furniture at first because it was always a hobby. And we know three things happen when you have a hobby, right? You have this hobby, and now you have to monetize it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, also not just monetize, but you also have to. The days when you don't want to do your hobby, you don't do it. But once you monetize it, there's no off days, buddy. You're there. You're full on. You're 24. Yeah, you're 24/7. You're now in the shop. Maybe, I mean, you can work 60 hours a week, but you're out of the shop 25, 30 hours a week. You're running errands. You're doing this. You're picking up. You're taking emails. You're taking phone calls. You're going to referrals. You're blah 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 blah. It all comes, right, et cetera, et cetera. And
the work comes with the passion.
It does, right? It does. It really does. And so I was trying to figure out, like, all right, man, do I really want to? And I was going to take the easy way out. I was just like, you know what? You're artistically inclined. You know a couple people. You like fashion. We could just do like some streetwear thing and blah, 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 blah. A friend of mine, Shante Moore.
Wait. So your original idea was fashion?
The original idea was like,
Because when we were in high school or college, it was music.
yeah, so it was all the same to me, right? Music, fashion, as we see now with the kids now. The way kids are now, most of them, like this hodgepodge of all their loves, and they monetize it, or they brand themselves around all their things. I was thinking that way 98, 99, 2001, 2003. I was like, yo, you can mix all these things together. They all go. You can wear, and it's not about wearing multiple hats. I think it's about when I'm here, I'm here. And when I'm here, I'm here.
I was sitting down with some actor friends recently, and we were talking about this idea that sometimes your art gives you different energy.
Oh, completely.
It's not the same thing. Like when I make music is a very different vibe than when I'm on stage versus when I like crochet a blanket or something because I want to make something with my hand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think each one is a different color to it as well, right? Something changes, your aura changes, and your attitude about it changes, and your view of the world changes as you're doing it.
Yeah.
And then some things make you be more empathetic and caring, and you're willing to step out in the world because you know that thing in which you're doing is not going to just benefit you, it'll benefit others.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the carpentry was. The clothes didn't do that. Like the music didn't do that. You know, I couldn't, you know, I can't turn the volume up on a sweater or a jacket if I made it.
Mm-hmm.
Or even with music, you know, you can only hit a subset of individuals who like what you like, right? And we're consuming it so fast, but not living with it.
Yeah.
I remember when we were in high school or through college or even through my early 30s, man, I lived with an album for like a year, right? You jumped on it and you lived with it, and it rode with you in the car, and you played it for the homies, and you remember that club or you remember that place and that thing with that song and that verse, and there's something, right? We don't live with things like that anymore. We kind of get it. We get it. We consume it. That was a bop, and move on.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that I wanted something at the same time. I wanted to kind of slow down too. Mm-hmm. So that's what the woodworking was. The woodworking enabled me to slow down. But
you mean like you physically slow down?
Physically slow down, because you're using both sides of the brain. You're thinking, and it's order of operation when it comes to creating furniture and creating things. Like you design it, and what you may design on the computer is not necessarily what's going to come out all the time. In the shop. So you kind of slow down, and you're thinking like, okay, I got to go here first, and then do this. I got to make this joint. I need to cut this before I cut this, and so all of that really had me like, okay, I like this. And then the idea came with a friend. I was talking to my friend Shantae, and she was just like, this is your thing, man. This is it. This is where you'll grow. And I was just so hesitant, bro. Like let's
talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I think sometimes when we have a big idea, and you could tell the big idea from all the things you think about because it overwhelms you a little bit.
Oh, completely.
Right? It overwhelms you a little bit. And it cost you something to pursue it.
A lot.
So how did you navigate that when you have this friend and you're making furniture and pieces of wood art for fun, and then you go like, I think I want to do this. What was that journey like?
I spoke with her, and then I spoke to my brother, Brian, and I spoke to a couple of the friends. And you know what's funny, man? My core group of people are extremely supportive of my ideas, whatever they are, right? And they always look at me and tell me that the only person stopping you is you, V. No one else. Because whatever you decide to do, you want to do, you're going to do it anyway. You're just, we're your sounding board always. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, dog, that's what you always do. And so I kind of went with it in that regard. Like, you know what? Maybe they're right. I'm going to do my thing. And
I think that's huge because, like, sometimes,
But it was how I got there, though, is because I kind of got fed up, too, though. I'm not going to lie. I was fed up with the grind.
Yeah.
Like the grind, bro. Like the 9 to 5 and, the job after the job. I think I was, when I started the business, I was, like, moonlighting, like doors at bars, and I was doing other things, and, I was making things for cash. You know how artists do, man. You're going to make something so you can pay that bill and keep your phone on and do this and do that, and just trying to figure it out. And I think the scariest point, it was the point of entry into developing or designing something. The point of entry for woodworking is extremely high. This is why most videos you see on YouTube.
Yeah, you got tools,
Oh my
space,
God. It's usually
electricity.
you see the same characters, right? The guys, upper 40s, early 50s. He's established. He either has like this 3-car garage with all these tools in it, or he's worked in a couple cabinet shops. Now he made some money. He was able to get a bank loan. He opened up his own shop. They've been in a bit, but these guys are all of age. And I got in the game late, right? I decided I was going to be a woodworker at 35 years old.
Okay.
Right, at 35 years old. But another thing that pushed it was I was having a kid.
Word.
I was having this
I didn't know that.
I was having this baby. And only one. My son Crew, man. And that really was the most beautiful, violent, ugly, scary thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
But for some, it debilitates you. For others, it was a tailwind, man. And that's what he was to me. And that's how the business truly was like, all right, this kid, what can I give to him besides, this is how you work every day, or this is how you know what I mean? I want to give him something more. And also, I want to be there. I know working all these hours, I was going to miss this growth. I grew up without a dad. I grew up in a single house with my mom. Yeah. So I really, although as scary as it seemed, I think when I finally saw him, I really wanted to be a father, man. Yeah. Like I want a real father, like that dad, like the TV dad that you see, man. Like I wanted to hold him. I wanted to experience the cuddles, man. I wanted to kiss him and hold him and be there and share in that love that I didn't get as a kid. And that really pushed it forward, man.
I think that's real. Like, I'm a dad too.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting about your journey, I can't speak, we can't speak for all people, but within my circle of male friends, folks have talked about when they have a kid feeling that desire to like step it up.
Oh, completely.
But what I feel like most of us did, including myself, is like we try to chase it the traditional way. It's like, let's go climb the corporate ladder or whatever industry we're in. And chase the titles and that kind of stuff. And you kind of doubled down and said, I'm going to chase my dream.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think that's really dope because
thank you.
Sometimes we could live our lives and give all of our energy to those around us and look up and be like, we didn't build anything or do anything we wanted to do. And that could be a really weird place for a kid to be around a parent who's resentful because they didn't get to do what they wanted to do.
And that was kind of where I was too. I didn't want to be that parent because I think in so many ways, my mom had me when she was 20 years old. So we kind of grew up together in a way, right? 20 years old. Then she had my sister when she was 22. So, over the years, single mom, she did everything you were supposed, like just that black mom. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I got one of them.
You feel me? Like they do their thing, but in her doing her thing, as I got older, I realized the things in which she sacrificed. I realized that her discontent or the times that she was mad that I didn't understand, it was because she had plans.
Yeah.
And those plans changed. And she was very caring and endearing and very special. And with that, she was willing to sacrifice. But in those sacrifices, a little bit of her light kind of left. But I think the light that energy kind of came to me and my sister. And I think when we did do well or when we did pursue things, that's what she was always like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving you that light that I kind of lost. But it's in you and you have it. And you got to go forward, dude.
Man, my mom gave me the same thing. But it was like, I think what I wanted was stability.
Right.
So I chased like the most standard path I could get.
Dude, we all did. We all did. Think about our friend groups, man. Think about all the guys you know, like I'm the only one who's really in like the art or maker field, whatever.
Yeah.
All my friends work in finance.
Yeah.
Or, they're in tech or they're business guys or they've been entrepreneurs for years, right? They've already established themselves. They have homes and families, you know what I mean? Like it's a thing. But I think that's also part of the order in which is shown to us as men in our era and generation, right?
Yeah.
If you're a latter year millennial, we saw the beginning of tech.
Yeah.
Right. We saw CDs and tapes but we also get to see the digital age. And so we've always been taught like you just got to go with the flow, find your niche, find your way, and make the best of it and shut the hell up. That's it. Right.
Yeah.
And then some of us are like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
I didn't get there till later in life.
Oh, later. Like I said, 35.
Yeah.
35.
No, actually, it was probably around that time for me too.
35.
I had kids young, and I had a friend die of cancer. And when I was with him during that transition period, he said that he was sad to miss out on his kid's future life. He was sad to miss out on all these things, but he was also kind of ready to rest, and he felt good about what he did with his time. And he started a school, a private school. And when we were in grad school, this is what he wanted to do. He wanted to be the principal of his own school. At the time, I was working with the charter school organization, so I was like, why don't you get a charter school? And then you could have like a private curriculum, but it's state funded to help you get off the ground. He's like, no, 'cause I don't want anybody telling me how to run the school. He was Mexican.
All the way.
Yeah,
all the way.
He's like, I want to do this for my people the way I want to.
I feel him. I feel him.
And I was like, it was the scariest thing watching him do it. But over like 8 years, he did it. You know? And so I think that changed me. It's like, oh, you know, it's never too late. You know, 35. I started acting when I was like 38, 39.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
but if all you got is time, how do you want to use it?
Exactly. And I think we have to use time as a commodity, man. It's the only capital, man. It's the only real currency, man.
You can't get it back.
You can't get it back, man. So use that shit wisely, man, and go for it, man. And don't joke around. I think for years, man. That's where.
Let's talk a little bit more about A Brown Hue.
Please.
So on your website, and I remember when you started the company, because I wanted you to build me a producer table that I still ain't never got.
I got you. I had a few orders, man. I had a few orders, man.
I respected it though, because like I was asking for something out of the box, and I could see like you doing stuff for restaurants. I could see the charcuterie boards. I could see all the events. I'm like, all right, he's building a business. It wasn't you were. I got to you after the stage when you had time.
Yeah, and you know, for your specific thing, what it is, it's still to this day. In the woodworking world and like the craft world, you can kind of, it's two sides to it. There's this artistry, and you see some people who lean into it extra heavy, and they only do custom work, and it's high end. You do it only with high end clients, and blah blah blah. I knew that I wanted that, but I also wanted to create a product that my mother at 22 years old with 2 kids could afford. Yeah, right. I didn't want her to have to buy at the big box store and then buy it again a year later. And now at 5 years later, she spent $500, $600 when she could have bought the original great piece for me for the $700, and it still lasted. And all of a sudden, my sister has it in her home, and my sister gives. You get what I'm saying?
Legacy,
so that's what I was thinking in my head. Like it was. You can be an artist, but you won't touch as many people. You have to be a business. You have to create a product. You have to go out into the world, and your shop can't just be a shop, man. It has to be a place where you build community. Yeah, it has to be a place where kids can come in and see people making things. I think for kids, man, like my cousins, man, they're like 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah. He watched me make a table one day, from like start to finish, right? He watched me mill the lumber, straighten it, do all the things that it takes to get it to where the wood is even usable to make furniture. I told him about like the moisture meter, and this is how much water is in wood when it needs to be at 6. All these things. And at the end of it, he was like, "Dog, for real? So
that's cool.
This is the same table from like 7 weeks ago." I'm like, "Yeah, man, we gonna drop it off at blah 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 blah." He's like, "Man, that's crazy. You serious?" And so when we were done, man, I just let him keep the original piece of wood. Yeah. And now he has it in his room. He just kind of looks at it like, "Oh man, I still got that wood you gave me." You know what I'm saying?
He'll find his wood. It may not be your wood, but he'll find his thing.
His thing, right? And that's all I want, man. That's why I want the space. That's why I want the lumber yard, right? That's why I want A Brown Hue to expand into a thing where, yes, we can create art, but we also create product, and product that is equivalent to the standards of yesteryear. Yeah. Not to today. Yeah. Right. I think we make enough crap. I don't want to make crap, man. I just want to make something where
it has longevity.
Think about it, bro. People are working 3 times as hard.
I want to add something to that, or have you expound on it? Because when you started at Brown Hue, there was also a mental health component, and it was something. There was a tie between the spaces we create for ourselves and filling them with the kinds of products that represent the kind of like stability and longevity. Yeah. And like being connected to the environment that builds a healthier person. You want to talk more about like how you like what led you to want to tie like a mental health kind of perspective or rationale behind the art and the furniture you're making?
It was the beginning stages of woodworking. And, you know, like I said, I had nowhere to source material. So I was sourcing material from like my big box store, or, you know, at the time I was still using like wood stains and one day you stop and you look at this stuff and you look at the ingredients and it's these chemicals and it just, I was like, it gotta be a better way. We've been doing woodworking for thousands of years, man. What happens to the old ways of doing things? And then in 2020, my mom, breast cancer came back. And at the time, I was at home with her and I had like this little shop in the basement and in the garage. And I had this kid who was 2, and mom was she was at home and he was so small, and I wanted to still work, but I also wanted it was a shared space between us all, but I wanted to create stuff. And so I started looking at things like non-toxic, it's gotta be ways to, you know what I mean? It has to be a way to make this table without this type of glue and without this like crazy chemical stain, color, and pigment. It has to be something healthier. That's kind of where, and then in my head, the bigger idea, because I'm always thinking like, okay, this small thing can be expounded into something way bigger.
You are like that.
Yeah, like this small. So I was thinking in my head like, yo, this small little like stool that we made, and I finished it in like beeswax and tongue oil. That was it. Right?
I have no idea what that is.
So beeswax is literally that. It's beeswax.
Oh, it's literally, I thought it was like a type of wood or a name or something.
It's literally beeswax. And tongue oil is like, it comes from like a tongue beetle. Right? And it's this, and you put the oil on and that sucks into the wood and that gives you like your sheen a little bit. And then the wax protects you from like water or slight damage and blah, 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 blah. I made this little bench for my mom.
How did you even figure that out?
But from tons of research, tons and tons of research of like natural ways of woodworking. Yeah. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's out there.
Yeah.
It's tons of information, but you never know because manufacturing is not something, and creation is not something in which it's specifically given to us in our community and shown and like, this is what you should be looking for. This is how this goes. You know what I mean? So I had to go out, man. That took a year, almost a year and a half of just researching like, this is the best option and this what this is. And I really wanted my kid to help. He was always coming down. And I'd be like, nah, buddy, go upstairs. Or, nah, buddy, get out the garage. Or you can. And he just make this long face. And he just looks so sad, man.
Because you're there.
Because I'm not there. But I'm not there, right? I'm like, I did this because I wanted him here. So let's find a way to get him here. Yeah. So I stopped messing with all that crap, man, at the big box store, man. And some of those brands that had all the chemicals in it. And we literally just went non-toxic. We went non-toxic. And in that, I started thinking like, well, we can go non-toxic. That means you can create furniture for wellness.
You can make furniture for wellness.
For wellness. And that's because the aesthetic of it is already what you're looking at, right? Yeah. It's pleasing. You can make it pleasing, but can you also make it healthy? You can make it safe for families, kids, everyone. And like, I wasn't just about my kid. It was also like trying to help mom through this situation. Yeah. And like knowing that, these chemicals can't be any good for her, man. And I went about it like that. And then mom passed August 20th in 2020 in the middle of COVID, like we went on lockdown and she passed away in August. And one of the last conversations that we had was her telling me that your ideas are only as big as you are. And I was like, what does that mean?
Thank you, Mom.
I'm like, what does that mean? And my mom was always, I remember one thing as a kid, she was always telling me, God's in you. Yeah. Moms, black moms.
Yeah,
God's in you.
Yeah.
So in my head, I guess the interpretation was like, well, God's in me and God's huge. Let's go do it. And that's really how that component came together for me. It was just building this small little thing. And I was like, well, you're really building for it. Why don't we just make a whole thing about just change the brand? Yep. It's small enough now. Change the brand. Yeah. Make the brand about, aesthetics, but also make it about creating things that are wellness. And wellness, in my mind, is getting a product where I buy it in 2024 and I look over and it's 2028 or 2029 or 2030. and it looks just as good as the day I bought it.
Yep.
Or it's patinaed along with my family.
Yeah.
It left that apartment to this new house.
Yeah.
It went from or mom left the old house and her daughter bought her new house and home with her son and her husband, and she gave it to her. So now it lives on again. I've thought about that for a really long time. Like, furniture to me is about the people.
Yeah.
It's not just think about it, man. Your kid's gonna, how old's your kid?
My oldest is 15, and my youngest will be 13 in 2 months.
Right? 13 and 15, right? They come to the table when you guys eat dinner.
Yeah.
And they're telling you their story.
Mm-hmm.
When we get old, that's what we'll look at. You remember that table that you guys sat at and you all talked about that thing, man. That's what furniture is, bro. Furniture isn't about creating some bullshit, man, and putting it out into the world and corporate. None of that. It's about creating something where people can live.
I want to tell you, like, sometimes when we have a big idea and we're so close to it, people can hear it and go like, "That's ridiculous. You're adding a lot of sauce where there's no need for it," right?
Yeah.
But when you said that, like when me and my kids got our first place by ourselves, the first apartment I moved into when we were kind of going through a hard time during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing we did was I took them with me to buy the furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a voice in the couch, and the dining room table, and the chairs. And that experience made so much excitement for us building our home.
Yeah.
And even now when we eat dinner at our table, it's our table.
It's your table.
Right?
And it will always be, and for you see this one way, but then if you ask them about that table, you guys remember when we bought this? They'll give you a whole dissertation about, I remember that day, Dad, blah, 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 blah. And they'll remember that as a kid. Because for some reason, we had this really, when I was a kid, we had this random oak table that my grandma had since like my uncle's like 62 now.
Yeah.
She bought him when he was like 3, right? And my aunt still has his table.
Yeah.
And it's just been passed down through the family. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that thing just sticks in my head. Like, man, not just like the craftsmanship of that era, but also like everything we did at the table. The card games and the laughter and the fun.
Yes.
And all those things just is connected. When Mom passed, I held on to her bed frame for a while. I just couldn't toss it. And something about the color and the bed frame, it still had a hint of her perfume in it or something like that. I was like, that, man, that, bro, like that. That's what you're doing this for, because it's somebody else who's going through the same thing that you're going through. And you got to create that bed for his mom. So he'll keep it too, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's what it's about, bro.
No, I think it's real. Like, I think sometime part of the reason I do this work, or I wanted to get into this big idea work in marketing communications and helping people tell their big ideas, is something about our world now is very jaded. Like, we're just so hyper aware. Like, you see movies now, and they're cracking jokes on the type of movie they are in the movie. Yeah. There's a certain level of sincerity that's missing. But like, human beings have this incredible gift of imbuing things with meaning. And
don't they?
And you can't separate that. And I think, like, I hope this podcast and what we're talking about is about that gift of humans to imbue things with meaning.
Yes.
Like, for you over here, it might just be furniture. Yeah. But for me and my family, this is our first dinners and our first home. This is
man.
How goofy, us sitting on the floor waiting 8 weeks for this furniture to be delivered.
You heard?
There's a lot of meaning there.
Yes. I got a client right now as you speak of that. She's out in Yorkville, and we're building this dining table.
Okay.
To go along with this settee that she has now. A settee's like a short couch.
Yeah.
That, you could sit. They use it in a lot of like restaurants. On one side, 3 people can sit on this one couch, and then on the other side, it's just really chic, really cool. She wants to put this like breakfast nook in. So her settee came, the other day. And now she's waiting on me to finish this table. And she's just beyond excited. And the first thing she says, I can't wait to sit and have my cup of coffee here in this space and look out this window. And I've been waiting so long for this house. Yeah. And so now I don't feel like I'm making a piece of furniture. I feel like I'll be sitting with her.
Making a sanctuary.
Right? But I'll also be in that, even if I'm not there, I'll be there with her when she's having that cup of coffee. Yep. Or when she's had that hard day and she cried a little bit, I'll be there. Yeah. Or when the kids came over and she was joyous, I was there. Yeah. That's how I view it. Like, I'm in the room. When I drop the furniture off, I'm in the room, bro. And I'll be there with you. in some way. So I feel like pieces of who I am, my soul, I get to leave and drop off in different places.
Ooh, I mean, that's the gift of being someone who makes something.
Right?
That's the gift of being someone who makes something.
I think that's a blessing, and just being aware that that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy now. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I could have did it the other way around. I could have used CAD design, found like CNC shops, find a guy who do me a production run. I just send over drafts. We do this. We create. You know, try to get it out to stores. We start this brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just very. I was like, oh, that ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work.
I think
it's not gonna work. So I think going about it the way I'm going, it's very hard though.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted, because a lot of, like I said, I come from a place where it's, like money was meager, man. It was small.
Yeah.
So when you go out and then you finally establish yourself in your 30s and you get a little bit of cash flow, you got something going in, and you take a majority of it and be like, yo, I'm about to dump all this into this idea right here.
Yeah.
You like, bro, my stomach hurt, bro. You go crazy, but you know that the day and age in which we live in, if you do not jump out the window at some point, you will forever be on the ledge. And the ledge is filled with anxiety and regret and fear and anger. And then, like you said, the kids are looking at you from inside the window and you're just standing on the edge. And they're like, Dad, are you coming in? And you don't know whether to jump or get back in the window. Like, you freaking out, bro. And I was in that space and I was like,
I love that Jay-Z quote when he says that there's a knowing. And before I found my thing, I didn't know what that meant because I had never known. Like, I was doing a lot. I had a lot of activity, right? I was winning awards. I was getting fellowships. I had a great salary. But I did not know. There was nothing. I felt very insecure all the time because I knew I wasn't really in it, and if it went, it could go away.
That insecurity,
right? And then when I found acting, which is the most ridiculous thing probably to make your thing, because there's no control, there's no guarantee you're gonna make it. But like, I love it. Like, it motivates me.
Some people thrive in that.
Wait, hold on. So like, I love it, but then I do a little movie. And it's the first time I get to be on camera, and I'm horrible. And I'm like, to be good at this requires something that I'm not going to get from these little studio classes.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to spend 10 grand and go to a 5-month actor conservatory in the middle of the workday. Yeah. And it scared the shit out of me. Like, how am I can't afford this. I don't have time. But like, in my heart, it was like, I knew I'm good at this, but I want to be great at it. And it's not fame or money or celebrity. It's, I want to get to do what Viola Davis does. I want to get to spend 5 months preparing for a role. I want to be paid like Daniel Day-Lewis to learn how to sew a dress so I could play a seamstress in a movie or something, right? Like, I love the craft of it,
The craft, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, man, the craft of it, bro. It changes your everything, man, to your core, man. And you really get charged up by the idea of the craft.
Yeah.
And the result of, I think the good things that happen from that is what bears the fruit, right?
Yeah.
But you got to be in love with that part first.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm like you said, that whole like this mass creating and going by the book and following the Instagram step or the blah, blah, blah step. It ain't for me, man.
I'll be honest, I don't think it's for anybody. But
I don't.
But I also know that, you can't push people. Hold on. So we are about halfway through.
Okay.
And you have not touched your wine yet.
Oh, I had a few.
Okay.
I had a few.
So what do you think? What do you think of the wine?
Sauvignon Blanc. Got some pears.
Look at you being some mania. You actually talking about it like talking about it.
You know what I mean? It got some. It's mineral for it though. It got a lot of minerals to it.
It does.
But all in all,
it's almost vegetable like.
Exactly right. A little bit of celery,
or like
green
pepper or something.
Yeah, some green pepper. So, but it's good though. I like it. It got like it's a texture to it as well. Yeah.
So the reason the reason we have wine on the show.
Okay.
'Cause I just got into wine.
Ah, my man.
I just got into wine.
My man.
But what it got me was wine is a big idea. And I didn't know that.
Huge idea.
I didn't know that.
Huge idea.
So I was out in Seattle with a friend, and she took me to a winery.
Okay.
And we're learning about the wine. They're teaching me about terroir. And this idea that wine at the highest level is about a place. And you capture the essence of the place, but not only the place, the time. Because it's that vintage, it's that year.
Yeah.
So just because these are Sauvignon Blanc grapes from Sonoma County in California, the same year, 5 years ago, it could taste totally different.
Completely.
Because the weather was different.
Yeah.
And 1,000 little decisions are made before it gets in that bottle. And there's somebody, not even somebody, it's a group of people
Yeah.
who are leading a small movement to make this bottle, you know? Like at SYT, we talk a lot about the idea that movements are a lot simpler than people think. It's really just a story about who we are as a people and a future we believe in, a connection. We know each other, there's relationship, there's community.
I like that.
And something to do.
I like that a lot.
Everybody has activity. And so a lot of what I'm hoping we do with the show is kind of inspire people to lead their little movements for their big ideas. And you know, some may have a lot of followers, and that's great. We need mass movements. But sometimes a movement of 50 people who are super into an idea is
dude, cult followings, man. That's what we grew up on.
Yeah.
That's everything in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's why we loved all this shit when we were shorties, man. Like all the random movies that we look back now as adults, like, oh man, this cinematography or screenplay was just kind of terrible. But it's so good though, right? That's what it was. It was that thing, man. A lot of the hip hop, man, in which we was like, oh man, this is fire. You look back like think about like being in the club in like 2000s, like early 2000s, and like random like I don't know, like hood hop came on. You was in the club like
Jaquan.
You was going nuts, bro. And then like later on, you was like,
did we really listen to?
Man, that's crazy. I really wore a big my t-shirt that big with a jersey. Like we was wild. You had like a 8.5 hat when the Dipset came out.
That's right.
You had on an 8.5. When your head like a 6 1/4. Like we was wilding, bro. We was wilding.
With the shorts that were like basically pants. It's like either pull your ankles up or your pants down.
Bro. Like all the way. But that's what I mean. Like so, but
wait. I was like, I made a playlist for my daughter on Spotify called Chuckles, and it's all these like funny songs. And so I put on a Project Chicken Head for her, and she was just dying laughing.
She was freaking out. Like
she was like, what? Chicken. She was like, is this really a song? I was like, this was a song.
It was a hit.
It was a hit.
It was a hit. Like Pat was the guy, bro. Pat's still the guy. Yeah. Like no, for real though. That's what I mean though. But like you said, but back to it though. Like for real. Like you just need some really passionate people around an idea, and who really not just care about the idea, but care about each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. I think there's not enough movements where the people care about each other. They care about the monetization. They care about the clout. They care about the power. The attention. The attention. They care about all the things that, you know, that we are told is like, this is important, right? Like I deserve these things. Right? And I think that the only thing you really deserve in this life is love, man. Like real love, bro. That's the most, like actual love. That's what you deserve. But all the other shit, man, you don't deserve a damn thing, bro. Just
you gotta go get it.
Like go get it, bro. Step out into the world, go get it, grab it, and work your tail off. And with God and like a lot of luck, lot of luck.
Well, so let's talk about that, because I think you're a person who your mom died, you had a child, and you were working jobs that did not fulfill you as a person, and you got this higher vision for your life, right? How did you start? Because I think sometimes when people have these big ideas, they put the entire burden of their everyday life on the passion of their heart. That just might be too much. Like, bro, I've never acted before. I can't put like my children's college fund on acting, but I had to start. And the starting for me, because it happened during COVID, similarly, it was just reading the acting books, you know, Stanislavski's book, Meisner's book, Uta Hagen's book, right? Stella Adler's book. And that was a seed, you know? So like, what was your seed for A Brown Hue? And like, because like you were saying earlier, when we link a woodworking, I grew up watching the new Yankee
Workshop, man.
But those people are established, right? You can't start there. You can't start with all that stuff.
No, you wouldn't get a Norm Abrams shop coming out the joint unless you got that from like your grandpops or you bought it from somewhere. Or you knew some machines, but then you had to be, you know, a mechanic to fix these old cast iron machines. So basically how I started, man, it was a boatload of videos from Masterclass to YouTube to Woodworkers Guild of America. I was paying for these videos, right? You know, like when you go to Menards and they got like that random section where it's like books on like how-to crafts and shit. I bought all them shits.
Okay.
Amazon books. But it wasn't just woodworking books. I bought design books as well.
Yeah.
Because design, they both interest me at the same time.
Right.
So I was learning about Dieter Rams at the same time. I was watching random old episodes of New Yankee Workshop. It just, and the Wood Whisperer, like all these things, man. And you put all this stuff together. And what I was trying to do was like synthesize my ideas. And that's how we got started.
I think that's how you know you have a big idea. Because if we're honest, most of our life we bullshit.
Oh,
most of us are getting by on charm and energy,
charisma. You walk into a room,
right.
you know, I can make a hell of a drink. I make a hell of a drink, bro.
Yeah.
I'm bad behind the bar.
But I think it's true for everybody, even people who just work a regular 9-to-5 job.
Bro.
And they're like, you know what the bar is, and your expectation is, and you meet it.
Yeah.
But then you find something where all of a sudden you're open to like put in a little bit more energy into it.
Man, and
you go read all these books. You go watch it. You have an insatiable hunger to learn.
I did.
That's a signpost that you're on to. You may not have articulated it, but you're on a path to a big idea.
And that's what it felt like, because any other thing, I probably would have been like, man, this is just a lot of energy exert. Because when you get to a certain age, you're particular about where you exert your energy.
Yeah.
You're particular about how much energy you're going to exert. You're particular about how much I'm going to spend. You have a limit.
you know your limit too. You know.
Right? You like, all right, I'm going to get into this. But once I get right here, and if I haven't made back what I put into it by this time frame, I ain't fucking with that.
That's
I ain't
right.
doing that no more. In this case, it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
Like, I start borrowing cash from friends. Like, I'm like, yo, dog, I got this idea. Y'all want to be a part? I call my cousins. I call everybody like, man, I'm starting this thing. And they're like, yo, you woodworking, bro? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I've been doing it for a while. Like, on the low, because I was doing it on the low.
Yeah.
In my garage. Nobody knew. Like, my mom and my sister knew, my brother. But I used to be in the garage, man, tinkering away, blah, blah, blah. But it be 30 degrees outside. Yo, I got a bubble jacket on, son. And like all your like little starter tools and shit. And I'm out there reading books and like, oh, this is how you put this joint together? Okay, cool. And
That's
it's
right.
literally with like a shitty heater. And I'm learning how to chisel. Right? Because I for some reason, I had this feeling like, this is gonna work, dog. This is gonna work.
That's the jigger. That's the jigger stuff. Like,
yeah, and then
I know now. I know. I don't know when.
One of my favorite Hove lines is when he says, 9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it a lot.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so that shit had me like, I used to play that shit back. Like, I'm running that shit back in the garage. Like, yo, this shit's gotta work. And so then from a money standpoint, I had saved up a bunch of money from just working an odd job, doing everything. And so I was like, all right, this is how much money I need to take care of this kid. If I don't, like, I literally said this to myself, like, if I don't go out, don't buy coffee, I didn't do a fucking thing for almost a year.
Yeah?
Bro, almost a year. And it seems so, like, stupid, right? I'm not going to buy that $8 cup of coffee, but that $8 cup of coffee 4 times a week was costing me blah, 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 blah. So I put that $1,500 back on. I squeezed every dime from everywhere I could. And before I knew it, I'm like, all right, I got $20,000.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm naive as fuck. Like, I'm like, yo, I got 20 grand. I'm about to give me some tools, blah, blah, blah. And you go and you look like, man, my table sells $7,000.
And I need a lot more than that.
Damn, I need to, man, I gotta.
You couldn't like rent the equipment or something?
So the issue, I think the biggest point of entry, like I said, for woodworking is quality tools cost quality money. Quality tools is just, it's money, man.
Yeah.
And the quality tool is because you're doing a lot of woodworking, most of it is just repetitive processes and order of operation. But every single time, from that first cut to that 77th cut, it needs to be the same.
Precise.
Very much so.
Yeah, not accurate, precise.
Very precise, right? In the world in which I live in, 1 1/4 and 1 1/8
throw everything off.
Is something completely different. Or if you want to get into it, 330 millimeters is different from 338 millimeters.
Yeah.
Right? That's how precise some things have to be for it to work, right?
Yeah.
The average height of a seat of a chair is 16.5 inches to 17 inches from the ground. So your knees don't bend too far and you feel comfortable.
Right.
Right. You have to learn all these things. I literally bought like diagrams and books and I downloaded PDFs on like the proper height of a dining room table, the proper size of a bed. Well, how many people can you fit on a love seat? How many people can you fit? And all these, and have to put all these numbers and ideas together so I can start to see, well, this is the type of furniture I like. I like a little bit of mid-century modern, but I also like Art Deco, but that's a little bit too much. Let me dial it back. And you start learning about errors, people, timing, material, all these things. And so then you realize, like I said, damn, bro, that $20,000 is like $20. It's like, I swear to God, man. And then I found an investor, and somebody invested in the business, personal loan from a friend, man, who will later become a girlfriend.
Okay.
And she just believed. And we've been rocking and rolling ever since, man.
That's your movement.
Yeah.
The story about the people.
Yeah. And my friend, and my sister, and my brother, and my friends, and I've had the homies come through,
but even
come in the shop.
Even just with you and her, that first seed, like people, I think in their heads want to skip to the end and be at the biggest level of stuff.
Yeah, no.
But like everything like that still takes time.
No.
But it starts with you and that one person who believes, your first follower. That's the movement.
Yeah.
And y'all had a vision for this man built furniture and be an artist, and I believe in it.
Yeah. And completely believes,
and
right? We had a show. We did a charcuterie board event at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Shout out to 7323 Cafe, and Vicky Miller and my boy Q. And she invited me to this event they were having at CME. And how I do like to do the charcuterie events is I always want to, again, build community. And I never want to walk in like, oh, look, here's my product. I always bring a chef.
Right, because you're selling the wood
boards.
the
actual charcuterie boards themselves and actual cutting boards, but like chef grade cutting boards. So ingrained 19 by 12, an inch and a half, 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
Like I really want you to use this thing, right? And so I'm like, well, I don't just want to stand there. It just looks weird when you're trying to selling wood products is a very weird thing, bro. Like let's be, it's cool when you get to like the store and you see me make it, or you watch a video, you see the podcast. I'm talking, but standing there,
bro, it's all weird. If you watch me do a self tape for an audition for like Chicago Med, I got to pretend to be shot. It's weird.
It's the strangest thing. So
it's all weird.
What I did was I called my boy who's a chef, and I was like, yo, do you want to demonstrate how to make like finger foods and how to dress a charcuterie board? So that'll help with actually selling the boards. And then as they see that, you know, we can market you. Yeah. We can do this collaboration. And when I told it to my homies, they was like, wait, what does this have to do with this? I was like, well, I'm selling this. He's doing this. Put this together. Food brings people together.
That's right.
The idea of him showing them how to dress a charcuterie board. We were close to the holidays because it was close to Christmas.
Okay. I remember this. I saw something.
And all of that kind of went together in the same, vein. And I lost track. Where we at the beginning? This wine is a little better than I thought.
You were talking about how you had an idea and brought more people to it. Yeah. So your girl started with one seed and then it grew into other ideas.
And when we did that, we made, I don't have a CNC machine, a large scale CNC machine. I have a friend who actually makes a lot of product for me. I'm trying to get my own. But me and her work 5 days straight. And she works at night.
Yeah.
And we sanded 38 charcuterie boards.
Yeah.
Of all sizes, so we can get them to the show. And we sold a multitude of them joints, man. Multitude of them joints. People loved it, but they love the story. They love the story, and they love the idea of it. And then just having Chef there and him explaining, and people now, then they felt more confident when they went to the holidays. I gave one to my kid's teacher, and when we came back from Christmas break, she was like, "Oh my God, I love that thing. We use it. We put little cookies on it." And I'm like, "Okay, Miss Anna, let's go. Let's go." And we bought like a little cheap laser machine, so we engraved like from Crew Happy Holidays. Yeah, Miss Anna, she melted, bro. And Crew's like, "I did that, Dad. I did that." And I'm like, "That's what I'm talking about."
That's how you imbue stuff a meaning, right? It's so some people it's just a random piece of wood that's been sanded down and shaped and a kid's name on it. But to her, it's imbued with so much meaning.
And I think for me, I think that's why they kind of work, because to me, it's not just that thing. It's not a board. It's literally like you're prepping food to nourish the family and to be together, bro. I love being together. I love get-togethers, bro. Like I love chilling, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this is why I was like, yo, you want to do the podcast? No doubt. Let's. Why?
Let's do it.
Why?
So
A little bit of camera time? Let's go, baby.
We are about 10 minutes to the end.
Okay.
And there's 2 more things I want to get to with you. This conversation has been great, though.
Okay.
One thing, 3 things. Let's do 3 things. Maybe it's okay if we go a little bit over? All right, cool. 3 things.
I think Colton likes us now.
Yeah, we cool. So, did you make anything when you started out that you were embarrassed, like it was ugly, or you were like, I fucked that up, it didn't go well? Like, did you fail at all in making stuff at the beginning?
I mean, tons of shit, bro. I remember I made this like this kitchen island thing, and it was like my first run at like, well, it was like a mobile cart because she had like a galley kitchen.
Yep.
And I had like a week to build this thing. It was for a friend, and I was like, I ran around with her, and she went to like all the big box places looking for this like little cart thing that she can make drinks on and then roll it out. Because at the time, everybody was like all about these like what's the vision board parties?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So she had this vision board party, and she want to make like the charcuterie, but she also wants to roll it out into the thing and make wine and do. So I built this cart. I got all the material from the big box store because at the time I was green, man. I still sourced hardwood. So I sourced some hardwood from this big box store. And at the time, I didn't know that, when wood changes from one place to another, it has to acclimate.
Oh.
Okay. So
wow, that's funny. I wouldn't know that either.
So I took it from the store, got it back to my house, threw it in the basement. Well, it went from the store, and it was wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
So I unwrapped it, and I just stacked it on top of each other. We use things called stickers, right, in between wood, so that air will flow, so that it won't move. I didn't know any of this at that time. So I just bought this wood from the big box store, threw it in my basement. Yo, I came back like 3 days later, and I think I had like 3 days to build it. Now, underestimating how much time it would actually take to build this thing.
Yeah.
Like, I just got to put some legs on it and blah, 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 blah. It's super simple. I drew some up. It was all the wood bowed because it was in the basement. The humidity in my basement was like 88%, right? The boards look like, I'm like, yo, what is this? I bought, and like at the time, I didn't know anything about like.
Bro sold me some defective ass wood.
Son, like, now I'm mad, right? The whole time it's my fault. The whole time I'm going crazy. Like, yo, I hate the big box store. They selling me crap. I'm wasting my money. The whole time it's my fault because I just stuck it in the basement after sticking out the plastic.
Yeah.
It was the worst kind of wood too, man. I think I used like some poplar or something like that. It was whack, bro. And then it bent, and then like, I didn't know how, at the time I didn't know how to fix it. I was interested, but I didn't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Bro, I stuck like a boatload of glue in each joint and just was like 1.5 inch screws just going crazy. Like, I'm gonna put this on. And at the time, we use these things called tabletop fasteners in actual wood. Why? Because wood expands and contracts over.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know that. I just screwed this top to this bottom with like some pocket hole screws, and it was on, and I gave it to her. I went back to her crib maybe like 2 months later. And I looked at this little cart, and it was like a little Charlie Brown cart. I'm just looking at it like, I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
But by that time, I was hours into learning the craft and learning and going through it. But it was trash. It was trash.
I think it's important that people.
But I keep that picture though. I took a picture.
Okay,
of it.
good. Yeah.
I took a picture of it. That picture is in my shop on the wall. Like, bro, this is what you were on, bro. So when we finally got the chance and we built 40 feet worth of retail countertop for coffee, hip hop, and mental health on Belmont.
Yeah.
And we did that in 3 weeks. And I did that with a guy who doesn't do woodworking at all. Another guy who's a general contractor, and my 15-year-old cousin.
You got it done.
We got it done.
And the wood didn't work.
No. And if you go in there right now, and that particular space has created other opportunities and other views.
I randomly ended up at the barbecue spot where you did the tables.
Soul and Smoke.
And talk
Love those guys.
About being imbued with meaning. I remember seeing that on your Instagram story that you had done that.
Yeah.
And I happened to randomly end up there with some folks from work kind of thing.
Yep.
And I saw the tables and my heart sang. It's like his stuff
Like
out in the
my
world.
boy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that failure story is important though, because I think half of what stops us from doing our big ideas. And even if you're not like an entrepreneur, like let's say you're a person who works at a nonprofit and you're the director of some department and you want to convince your boss to do your big idea, but like you feel this pressure and because you want to do it well, But almost everybody has these stories of like the first time you try something new,
Always.
it's gonna be a little awkward. It's gonna be a little goofy.
And what we were talking about earlier, I think we get so, like, when you get to our age and you get in like your mid 30s, I think that as a kid, you're not afraid to, you don't give a fuck about failing.
That's right.
You don't give a fuck at all.
It's a part of the protocol.
Right. And
you expect to fall.
I think that that's the one thing as an adult we should I don't know how or when it happens, but it happens, and we shouldn't lose that. You shouldn't be afraid to just be like, you know what, I'm a bomb at this shit.
Yep.
But I'm gonna do it again and again. But then I think in our head as we get older, and bills get involved and all the other shit gets involved, and that's how we end up on the ledge too.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep.
Like, and you learn to just like, I'm gonna just keep playing the game then, but not realizing like, yo, the game's tearing my ass up.
That's real.
It's tearing my ass up, and it just gets ugly.
So, over the time we talked today, you shared your big idea around furniture and design and how investing in sustainable furniture is a way to build legacy, tradition, and community around the furniture you use to occupy your space.
And it also makes things very viable economically. I think investing in a proper piece in the beginning saves a lot of
money down the road.
And that's really what we need to be thinking.
I done bought like 85 versions of the Billy bookshelf.
Look, bro,
I need to get some.
I'm already telling you, bro. I'm already telling you. I know.
And then along that, you talked a lot about the sacrifices you made in time, the way you had to reorder your priorities, saving money to get their first tools, facing the challenges of the idea. The tools cost more than you thought. Being
Way
a little
more.
bit of hubris, building the first furniture that didn't go quite so well. Given everything you've learned, like really quick, like what would be your advice to somebody right now who's questioning doing something with their big idea? Like what would you want to tell them to encourage them?
Move with love. Move with the way I was able to get better is because I was empathetic to the person in which I was creating for. I understood Jelani had children. I understood my mom was working her ass off, but that she didn't have enough to get that high-end thing, but that doesn't mean she have to get crap. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's an empathy that's lacking in the world. What I would tell them with that big idea is to run with it. But in that, remember, empathy and ambiguity in the world, right? Like ambiguity, there are things that will happen. Things will crush you. But you got to keep going because it's not just you you're working for. You're working for the people outside. It's somebody who wants to love the thing that you're making. They're out there looking for that shit, man. We drove around for hours looking for this stupid cart that was shitty that I made, but she loved it at the time, right? She loved that thing. But so what I would tell them is like just that, man. Make sure you're moving with a lot of empathy. Make sure you see people, but not see people as a target market or see people as a possible like client or blah. See them.
Yeah.
See their life.
Yeah.
Is their life similar to mine? Where are we at, bro? Like, it's funny, man. Like, the one thing that's dope about the furniture shit, I can go into $1 million home and then go into a studio of a guy who just got out of college who's paying $2,000 a month for a 525 square foot thing. But they're both looking for the same thing. They're looking for something to make their space feel like I'm okay when I come home.
Yeah. It feels like home.
And in my mind, when I walk in, I have to say, well, I have to see this guy. And I also have to see this guy in $1 million home. I have to see them.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do with that big idea. You have to see other
The people are going to be impacted by your big idea.
Yes, bro.
I think that's beautiful.
Yes, bro. Because they will. If you're doing it like you're supposed to. If you're moving in there with that love and that thing, bro, they'll see you, bro. They will see you.
All right, we're going to end up with a few like little rapid fire questions. The first four questions.
Let's go.
The first four questions, and you can expound if you want to. We got a little time.
Let me a little bit of this
Go ahead.
before we get into the quickness.
Yeah. So the Japanese have a concept called ikigai.
Okay.
And I probably pronounce it horribly. I am so sorry if I pronounce it horribly. But it's the idea of how do you know you found your life purpose? And I think big idea work is all about finding purpose. And big ideas could change, right? But you have to have a purpose. And they say that you could tell that you found your purpose if you can answer affirmatively to these four questions.
Okay.
First question, are you good at what you do?
Yes.
Can you make it money at what you do?
Yes.
Do you love what you do?
I love it.
Does the world need it?
Yes.
So you found your purpose.
Wow.
How's that feel?
Crazy.
It's
Because it's been such a journey to get in this chair at this moment and say those things confidently.
Confidently, right? No,
because at one point, I was not good.
Yeah.
At one point, nobody needed what I needed. Nobody needed my shit.
Yeah.
Like, so, wow.
It's a thing.
It's shit.
It's a heavy thing. Because like the funny thing about those questions is if you don't have all four, there's always a little instability, right? Because they say like if you love what you do and you can get paid for doing it, then you have a passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can get paid what you do and you're good at it, you got a profession. If you love what you do and the world needs it, you have a vocation. No, you have a mission.
Mm-hmm.
If you get paid to do what the world needs, you have a vocation, right? But so like if I'm good at what I do, I get paid what I do, and the world needs it. That seems good enough. But if I don't love it, I'm
yeah.
Right. And then if I love it, I can get paid to do it, and I'm good at it. But the world don't need it. It's kind of pointless.
It's kind of right. You just floating.
Right.
You a kite in the wind, man.
Yeah. If you could get paid to do something the world needs and you love to do it, but you're not good at it, you're kind of insecure.
and that's how it feels in the beginning. Yeah. That's how it feels in the beginning.
So I think when we're on our big idea stage, keep going till you feel that ikigai moment where you're like, I can answer all four questions affirmatively. And if you can't answer one or the other, work on it. If the world don't need it,
love that.
Maybe you need to build a market for it. If you don't love it, you should stop.
I love that.
If you're not good at it, like
I gotta pass it along to the gang, man. I gotta pass it along to the little guys, man. I love that.
I think it's real, and because if you're not good at it,
I think it is real.
You could grow on it.
Yeah.
I didn't come up with this. The Japanese,
but I love.
It's an old idea.
But I love that you threw it out there to the world, though, man. That's really what's up, man. And I'm grateful for you in this moment, man, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, man. I'm grateful for you just even recognizing, bro, that I'm working for a reason and working towards something, and it's all love, man. And that's YT, bro.
Yo, I'm speak your truth, bro. I'm grateful for you because you're the first guest on the podcast, which is a new big idea for the company. That's
crazy.
And when I was looking at guests, I called a bunch of people, and you were on that list because there's a lot of people hustling, there's a lot of people doing stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who actually have a genuine big idea. Something that has stakes to it, something that has a perspective on the way the world is.
Yeah.
And when I remember you starting A Brown Hue, there was a clear line in the ground.
Yeah,
this is not
and now,
big box stuff. This is handmade.
And now it's getting even bigger, man. Dude, just trying to find a space that will house all of these ideas has been crazy. We stopped looking at like actual commercial spaces in the city. We've been looking at buying a farm. Like I'm dead ass. Like because I want to mill on a property.
Yeah.
I want to have a large barn or steel building where we have the shop, but I also want to do metal work because we want to make metal legs and start doing sculpting and shit like that. So, but I also want all this shit to be like, you come and you're here and you can see our little vegetable garden and our animals and a kid. You feel it?
You go to the winery?
Exactly.
Come to Brown Hue.
But instead of going to the winery, you come here and you make some shit and you take it home.
Yeah.
Bro. And you make some shit and you take it home. And then we can share, because the girl, Chrissy's band, she's really into all like the nature, animals, and she kind of wants to do like a little farming situation. So that's kind of what I've been looking at, man, trying to expand into this like huge steel building or possibly 2 or 3 steel buildings where we can turn A Brown Hue into this. Welcome to our space, and we're here.
We don't talk about that enough of the big idea, but once you get into once you get into living a life about actualizing your big ideas, you quickly learn that they're like these little S curves. And you start off with a dream here. You got to do all this work and go through all these challenges. You get up here and you mature and you achieve it. But if you don't,
and now it's a shitload of curly cues.
Yeah, and now it's a shitload of right because if you don't redream at that point and get the next big idea, then you die.
Yeah. No, seriously though. And it's funny because you can get up there and be like, and it take forever, but you die fast as shit. You literally just fall the fuck. I'm like, I'm fuck, bro.
I mean, this is why entrepreneurs usually start multiple businesses. Like I'm on my 3rd business right now.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Part of it's because of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's dope. I think it's dope. So I think you will like. I think that thing is coming. I want to interview you when that happens. It may take 5-10 years.
It may. Even if it's 5-10 years from now, man. We can change the space, and you come on out to the farm, and
we do that.
And we sit, man, and we be like, yo, we talked about this.
So you want to tell the people how to follow you, engage with you if they want to order furniture?
Yes. ABrownHue.com. Also, I am always on my IG, man. Like it's kind of getting bad. Like the girlfriend's mad, but A Brown Hue LLC on Instagram, A Brown Hue Design on Facebook. You can leave me a message on the website. Yeah, man. I try to keep the socials to like 2.
Yeah.
Like I know like everybody else is like going crazy with like they're on Snapchat and they're on TikTok and I don't know, man. I along with being an entrepreneur, it's very. I'm still an artist too.
You're still an artist,
right?
Yeah.
So I try to limit a lot of the extra noise around me.
Yep.
And right now, as we've been talking for like the last hour, dog, like there's a lot of noise.
Yep.
And it's hard to create for me.
Yeah.
For all those who can do it with all the noise.
I only have the website, and I'm only going to do Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram fits the medium for me to share these ideas with folks. You know?
Exactly. Right. So,
and I don't need I'm not overly concerned about trying to reach everybody. I want to reach the folks who get it.
That's it, and I think that's why I go about the way. But yeah, Instagram, man. The website.
Do you have anything cool coming up at all that people need to know about? Like any other events or anything?
I actually got a crazy. I'm hoping that it comes together. We are dealing with a nonprofit, and they want us to turn a Sprinter van, into a mobile office. Crazy.
That's cool.
Crazy.
So that whoever called you, that was a person with a big idea, and I need to meet them.
Huge.
That's awesome.
Huge. And I finally gathered up the materials, and I am going to do my first production run of my own furniture. Nice. Yeah, man. Oh. Yeah, man. Yeah, my designs, like
a gallery kind of show,
Yeah, gallery show. Yeah, and I'm going to try to bring the chefs back in, and we're going to make it a night.
I love it.
And do something fun.
Man, thank you. Man, thank you so much for coming.
Man, it's all you, Brody. It's all you, baby. I'm floating, man. I'm floating.
And thank y'all for joining us. If you sat through this hour, I appreciate it. We're going to be doing these once a month, the Speak Your Truth podcast. We are SYT. You know, a movement is nothing more than a group of people with a story about who they are and the future they believe in. If you need help shaping your big ideas so you can communicate it and tell your story, SYT is available to offer services to help those kind of things as well. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, go on the website, wearesyt.com, or find us on Instagram at wearesyt. And just let us know your story, and maybe we can help you share your big idea. Thank y'all.
Beautiful.